Good evening, everyone who gave us the time to join us today. This is part of the Atticus series, which we are trying to conduct this entire year. We are going to take some of the smaller topics and have these free sessions for people pretty much like the ones who are attending right now. Thank you all for attending. You will also be provided with the recording of this class later. So, what do we mean? First, a bit of background about Atticus Advisors to start with. So, we are a management consulting firm. We have been around for close to 5.5 years now, and we've been working with multiple clients in the startups and SMEs category. We have also delved into multiple geographies. We're looking at multiple types of projects, both in process improvement, management consulting, strategy, finance, and so on. Now, what happened along with this is in our journey, we also found out that there are two things that are happening. One is that we understood that the most common tool that is used by people today is MS Excel and MS PowerPoint. And the second is we found that a lot of students in the first 0 to 2 years of their experience, whether it is after their undergraduation or after the postgrad, and especially during their MBA times, they do not have the skills. So we're going to be having some snippet sessions conducted over the year related to MS Excel. This one, we are going to cover three things. We're going to cover formatting, we're going to cover sort and filter, and finally, we are going to cover VLOOKUPs. Now, it'll be a good idea if all of you have got the laptops. If not, then no worries. We will also be doing it here slowly. If you have joined from your laptop, that'd be great, because then I'll ask you to share your screen so that we can see if you have made any mistakes. All right. Anybody here who has not joined from the laptop? Anybody? Okay, no problem. So let's get started. I've taken a basic data set here. As you can see, it's in the CSV or the notepad or the .tsv format. We have data here regarding fruit sales, which is the which is the type of fruits, the sales that have happened, and the date on which the sales have happened. I have simply imported this here in our entire session, in the larger Excel program that we have. I also explained to you how you import data and how do you clean it, how do you make sure there are no gaps in the data. Okay. So we're going to try three very interesting tricks and tools and formula today. First being conditional formatting. Okay. Now, anybody here who's aware of what is conditional formatting? If you have questions, you want to ask something, please feel free to post it in the chat window as well, in case your audio isn't good enough, or else you can also speak up. Okay, has anybody here any idea what is conditional formatting? Conditional formatting is a very specific Excel-based tool which allows you to visualize something which is happening with data without tampering the nature of the data. Okay, that sounds like a very complicated sentence. Let me explain that once more. So conditional formatting allows you to change how the data looks like visually as compared to actually changing the nature of the data. Now let's try and see how that is useful. You have a data set here stretching across roughly 1.5 years. As you can see, if I select the column here, 500, which is roughly 1.5 years. Let me just add a row here, which is date, fruit, name, and sales. Okay. Now, when we have this, we are trying to find out, let us say one of the questions in our mind is highlight banana sales. Okay. What are some of the ways in which I can highlight banana sales? So As you must have understood, there are a lot of different types of fruits which have sales in this data set, but you want to specifically highlight the sales for banana. How can you do that? You can go to banana manually. You can go to each of the banana cells, click on them. Control B, Control B. As you know, obviously Control B, Control plus B makes you embolden it. Every time I use a formula, I'm also going to be writing it here. Just use CTRL, which is bold. Now, this is very time taking, as you can understand. If I'm going to do this across 500 rows, it is going to take a lot of time. If I had to do it across, say, 6 or 7 rows, we could do it. Also, just because I've boldened it does not mean that it is very clearly visible. So then you say, sir, why don't we color the cell? Very good, we can color the cell. So I've selected banana, and I would like to go here, fill color yellow, fill color yellow, color yellow, color yellow. So this is going to take even longer. If I'm going to select each and every cell in this 500 row data set, it is going to take a lot of time. Okay, let's find out what is the extent of the coloring that we have to do. Let's try one. Let's select the entire data set. How do I do that? Control Shift. And I'll have the formula here. Control Shift. This allows you to select all cells below highlight. Control Shift and the down button. Now, I'm going to add a simple function called the filter. When you select a table, you can click on the home ribbon, click on filter. We explain further types of filters, what types of filters there are, specific types in the longer sessions. Here we will just quickly come to the filter function. And then you can see these little triangles. Obviously, this means that we can now see the entire summary of this entire row simply by clicking on this triangle. So, as an example, if I click here, it shows that you have data for apple, banana, papaya, and pear. Okay, apple, banana, papaya, and pear. So before you start, so if somebody asks you, why don't you go and highlight all the banana sales? Before you do that, first, why don't you just confirm whether there are sales for other fruits or not? Of course, it is visible, but a shorter way to see instead of the entire row. Now let's try conditional formatting. Let us select this entire column. Then click on home again. Here again, you will find conditional formatting as a. What are we trying to do? We want to color it. So the first cell option is greater than, less than, between than, equal to, text, date, duplicate value. We are right now concerned with text that contains. So if we have everything which says papaya, it will come up as light red fill. I change this. There you go. All the single cells where you have the word banana has now been highlighted. This is very helpful when you're going to go through the data and you want to say where are the bananas. You don't want to change the data set. You don't want to take data out or add new rows, new columns, create a new table. This is the simplest way in which all you do is simply add formatting. Okay. Any questions till this point? Any questions from anyone? Okay, no problem. Now let's try one more. Same formula, Control Shift down. I have gone to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules. Let's say I want to find out I like banana cells with more than 50 units. Okay, so I only want to see those cells which have more than 50 units. So, of the many ways in which you can do this problem. Same thing, Control Shift down, conditional format, highlights and rules greater than 50. There are a lot of cells which find 0. Let's go.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I think so. Your voice was cracking.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it might be an internet issue. Is it better now?
Sir, still little bit cracking.
It's cracking. Okay, just give me a second.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I've just made one change. Instead of highlight sales with more than 50 units sold, because there are so many examples, let's be a bit more critical. Let's say more than 100 units. So there'll be less examples. Let's do that. Same thing, Control Shift down, home, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules greater than 100. Very less. So now on this side, you have all the rows with more than 100 units sold. And here you have all the rows, all the cells which have the word banana highlighted. So now, to fulfill this filter category, which is highlight banana sales with more than 100 units sold, go to sales, filter by color. Filter by number, of course, is easy, where everybody knows how to get the value. You go to filter by color, search for the pink one. Now only those cells are recorded. There are only 300 cells which are more than 100 units. But we only want relevant for banana. It's these 8. There are 84 units or 84 rows or 84 data sets where more than 100 units have been sold. Okay. All right. Any further questions on this? How to manipulate this kind of functional views and so on. Taken a fairly simple example so that it's easier for people to grasp quickly. Anybody? Any questions? Lavisha, Mihir, Vignesh, Varun. Done. Okay.
It's clear.
All right. Let's get to the next one. Now, it so happens that data here is sorted by date. But that's not what you're looking for. What you want to do is, let's say that you want to take a printout of this. It's a very tactical problem, not so much about data analytics, but it's still a huge part of the request that we get from clients is, why don't we get data, which is in a way that I can print it easily. Enough. So before getting into too much details about how Excel can print works, we're going to take a simple set. The client wants that all the papaya sales are in one place and apple sales and banana sales and so on. The client does not care about the date. He wants the sales to look front. All you have to do is click on the cell you want to format it by. In this case, which is 5C. Go to home, sort and filter, sort. Yeah. Now you have all the Apple sales in one place, banana in the other place, and so on. Do you notice something more interesting? Apple sales are in also chronological order because your previous data set was in chronological order. When Excel starts to manipulate it, it still continues it in chronological order. Okay. Now your client is not concerned with Apple sales. He wants to have things based on the total sale, which means he just wants to see, I want to see for one particular day, whichever was the highest sale, I want it to be sorted by that. Same thing, go to the topmost row, click on B5, sort and filter. He wants largest to smallest. So the single largest sale that has happened in the last 1.5 years was on 12th November for an Apple. So people do try out different formula and different ways to structure the data. In my experience, if you can simply sort and filter your data, you can create multiple cuts. And each of these cuts are specifically useful to solve some of the customer or client related problems. You don't have to separately create a document. You have simply sorted it. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is completely random. This is completely, this is now alphabetical. And this is based on value. So now your date is irrelevant. Here, given that you have the first 4 here, which is by value of the fruit sales, the fruit names are coming alphabetically. Okay. Okay. What else? What happens if I select all of them together? Go shift down. And I go and sort and filter the newest to oldest. What is the order then? It brings out 31st December first in papaya. Then 30th December, then 29th December, 28th December, 27th December. This is now randomized. This is now randomized. Okay. So if you select the entire data set, Excel decides to choose whichever it wants as the anchor column for sorting. So if you want to sort simply on the first column, which is what Excel decided, you select the entire table. But if you want to sort it by the total sales or by alphabetical order or by chronological, you have to select the cell in that column. Okay. So let's do that here. Well, sort and filter, sort A to Z. Now, this was 1.5 years of data. In the advanced version, I also explained to you what happens and how do you start fixing this kind of data, where why are there 2 values of 1st Jan? Slightly advanced, that talks about conditional formatting to the next level. For now, I will just quickly undo this so that we are, yep. All right. Any questions till now? No questions, we'll come to the next part. So we've done with conditional formatting and sorting. Now, I'm going to do a slightly advanced version of what is done here. I won't be teaching you exactly how I do it. I'll be doing it a little quickly, but I'm happy if you guys are catching up and then you can ask. Sir, we would like to know how to do it. Shortcut I just use this Alt I, inserting a column. Please note the way I was writing shortcuts here was with a plus. The way I'm writing shortcuts here is with a comma. If I'm going to add bold, it will be Control and B pressed together. So if I'm pressing something together, plus. If I'm clicking a shortcut and then releasing it, a comma. I just press the Alt button. Now I'm pressing the I key. So I'm not holding them together. Pressing Alt, pressing I, finally C. Column insert. Same as with Alt I R. Okay. Add a column. Made a mistake. So I tried to copy the same formula. Now obviously made a mistake. I made a month formula. Should have been. See why this happened. Now I have converted the dates from the DDMMYY format very simply to the month format. Now we've got Jan, Feb, March, April. I use the shortcut for inserting a pivot table. Alt N V. Again, I would not be explaining in too much detail about the pivot table. There's a bit of context to be set first. I'm just using this to show what are the various types of functions that you can do. Shortcut for this is Alt N P. Inserting pivot. For the same data set, we have date, we have fruit name, we have sales. Now this data we can have by month. As you can see, we have flipped this entire table where the dates are now on top. We can have this removed and it looks like this. We can remove the date as well, and we can have, sorry, we can remove the fruit name as well. This just tells you what is the total sales for a particular date. First, we can just have the total sales. Okay. Now we are concerned with that. Let's try and create a situation where if you have banana fields, banana sales, and sorry, my bad. If sales are more than 100, highlight red. Did this be conditional formatting? What if we edit this and we say if sales are more than 100, then enter a value more than 100. This is the first time we are going to be editing the value of data. Okay. Boss said, I don't want you to keep coloring the data because I can't keep color. I can't have colors everywhere. Instead, what do I do? Why don't you just tell me the sales are more than 100 or not? I don't want to see what is red, what is green. I want you to read it. We have equal to if sale is 100 more than 100 or else fairly simple form. If your logical test, which is the value in E5, is more than 100, then you want to print the value in quotes more than 100, which is the value of true. And what is the check if it is false, which means it is not more than 100? Less. Control C. Okay. Now your boss is still not happy and he wants to see where are my banana sales. You have the fruit filters on this side. Now let's go to our pivot table. Again, as I said, this is a little advanced, but I'm showing this to show you what are the kind of things that you can do in Excel. When I've added the sales filter to my pivot chart, it shows there are 11,000 total revenue, which has come from less than 100 value. I can also count, which means of the 500 total cells, the 500 total data points, on 198 days or on 198 days, there were fruits sold with less than 100 units. And 300 were first. You say, sir, but the question was fruits. Very true. I will have the fruit name added here as a filter. Now you see each fruit as a filter. Alternatively, if you want to see a summary of all the fruits, all you need to do is (40 days) when the sale of apples was less than 100. 79 it was, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put a pause right now. Wanted to have a short, quick session. I hope the last 30 minutes I've been able to explain some of the kind of tricks and concepts that there are in Excel. Any questions right now from the group? Anything about the course? How do we conduct it? Anything about today's course? Anything about the sessions you learned today? Anything?
I have one question.
Go on, Lavish.
Yeah, before you taught conditional formatting, in that I have one question. So, for example, we have a data in which there are thousands of rows and columns. So, and there are repetitions as well. Like the same data is repeated, but we want to figure out that these data should not be repeated, and that report should be pulled out to the other sheet. Can we do that using conditional formatting?
Well, conditional formatting will only highlight the rows which are duplicate.
Hmm.
If you want to find out, if you want to create a new sheet, you will then have to filter out that row or those rows, not just that row, and then copy it and then paste it manually.
Okay, so that means through conditional formatting, we can, find out that what are the what is the repeated data, then we can filter and then copy.
Right? You can do that.
Hmm. Okay.
Right. So you can identify, but you can't directly create a new sheet. You have to then manually copy and then manually. That's the only thing.
Okay, and one more thing, like for example, in the data, a particular name is repeated twice. Like we can say any name, like Robert. Okay, so there are in name section in name row there is Robert is repeated twice, but then in the second column the information is different. So what if we do not want that, like if I do conditional formatting in particular one column, then Robert will come out that this is the repeated data, but that the information which is given ahead in that row is different. So how can we figure out that using
Yeah,
do you
that
understand
cannot
my
be figured out in. So then Excel will read it as two separate row items.
question? So
Well, actually, we can
for
try that. I can just show you. So instead of names, we can do it with the fruits itself. Why don't we try it? Create a very short. So your conditional formatting, then I will have to be in combination with a couple of more forms. So for example, so you've got papaya, apple, banana, and banana. Let's say in the first case where you've got identical data, 207 to 107. How I would do it is I would do a count check. So the simplest way is to do a count check of this entire data set for the name. So now apple is coming once, papaya is coming once, banana is coming twice. And hence, you know that banana is repeated twice. Now, whether the conditional formatting is the best way to do it, I don't know. There might be simpler ways also to do it. But let's use conditional formatting as well.
In count, if we can find that this banana is repeated twice, but then we cannot pull the data. Like we cannot we'll have to search from thousands of and rows and columns and go to that particular and copy and paste.
Okay, so we can solve that here. Let's try it as here. So let's say this is your data set. Okay. You can create a pivot of that. If you want both the rows to be there, this way, let's say that they are marks or their attendance or their salary. Now you've got a unique set here. It's apple, banana only. So now, if you had two rows and you wanted both the rows to be there, then you have selected. But that's not the only, that's not the only sort of requirement. Just give me 1 second. Let me just find the right data set for you. Root sales ke saath you can't do attend. This kind of data. So I've got one more data set where I've got marks. So let's say your problem is this, where your problem is this, where this is subject, this is name, and this is marks. So can you tell me here, how would you want the situation to be? So the error,
Okay. Give me a minute. Let me analyze the data.
so there are 7 subjects, 8 people, and then marks per each. These are the subjects, these are the names, and then the respective. The A indicates that the person is absent.
Okay, so here name is not repeated, I think.
So you want me to repeat a name so I can obviously edit. So I have inserted a Control Shift plus list of shortcuts. Control Shift. Start. So let's say that you're saying that this is the kind of data set, right? So Sankalp's marks are coming twice. Right?
Okay, can you please write as 25 in Sankalp's marks? Yes.
So
Okay. So now, now I want that all the repeated data should come up, or either either it can be like, or the non-repeated data should come up. In either way, it is good. If non-repeated data is coming up, then Sankalp won't come up through conditional formatting.
So again, like I said, conditional formatting might not be the best way to do it.
Okay.
So let me just copy paste
Oh, fine.
the math subject so that it's easier to work. Here we put a counter formula for this entire. We freeze it and we say how many times. So Partho is 1, Sankalp is twice, Ritesh is.
It shows Sankalp is twice, but the data is different. Sankalp's marks in first one is 15 and in second one is 25. But this is not the repeated case if we analyze it by ourselves. Right?
So here's my question. So let's go step by step. The first step, if Sankalp's just the name, let's not add the 25 part yet, okay? If just the name is there, you can put a filter here, right? So now this is all the unique ones. You can copy this part out. No, this part is correct. And here you can go to 2, and then you can take a call which one to take, right? Take one of them, both of them, each of them. Okay. I will do something more. I will create something which is called a key equal to math name marks. Okay. Now there are repeated subjects, correct? There are repeated names. There are repeated marks also. But the combination of a name, a subject, and marks is not possible. That is only possible if it is a repeated data set. So now if I do a counter for this, which is called a key, I should not find any data. Let's see if there is any data or not. So now my count is 1. Okay. Now let's start making changes. यहाँ पे Sankalp is 15 and 25. So count क्या आ गया? 1 1 आ गया, correct?
Right.
So now you know that even though Sankalp is come twice, it might be a different Sankalp or whatever is the logic, right? But if I do this as 15 now, then it is
It's
identical.
coming twice. Right. Exactly.
Now you can have this.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you please share the formula of key and counter?
The key is nothing, it's just a basic concatenate. So a concatenate is what clubs different variables without any logic. So math Partho 74 is not date or text or numeric or formula or anything. Okay? So you just type equal to concatenate and you select the rows, the cells. You can alternatively do equal to math, then and this and this. Will give you the same result. Formula for countif is equal to range, and then you freeze the range with the dollars in the next. Okay,
Thank you so much.
no problem. I think you have a very. Are you working in HR by any chance?
Yes.
It's a very specific HR related issue. Okay, interesting. So there are more types of ways in which you can solve these kind of problems without affecting the main database. We can also talk about them. Okay. All right. Anybody else has any further questions? Lavisha anymore? Mihir? Vigneshwaran? No problem. Thank you so much for your time right now. And if the session was understandable and useful, Mihir will come back to you and try and fix a slot where if you are happy to, you can join some of our longer courses. It will be taught by people like me and some of my other colleagues. Thank you so much, Mihir, for organizing this.
Thank you so much, Partho sir. It was a great session though. Thank you so much, Lavisha and Vigneshwaran, for joining the session.
Thank you. You have a great day. Bye bye.